All right, everybody, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to join us here at Top Rated Seller Webinars. Today's webinar is the top 5 tips for wild success in 2014, and we are blessed with the presence of Janelle Elms, who is a best-selling author, speaker, and a leading eBay educator, and she'll be talking to us today about our webinar. We got a little bit of housekeeping, just like we always do. The question always arises, is this webinar being recorded? And the answer is yes. We are making several recordings, and we will get the best one up as soon as we can. Give us 24 hours, 48 if it's snowing, and we'll get that webinar recording up for you on our YouTube channel. The presentation slides will also be available on the same place at our YouTube channel and on the PageMage website as a PDF. If you're having audio problems, try using the phone. Sometimes the computer connection just doesn't work. And if you're on the phone and you're still having audio problems, try hanging up and calling back in. Sometimes you just get a bad line. Please stay connected to the Top Rated Seller webinars. We really want to know what you think and what you're looking to hear from us. You can sign up at pagemage.com/Top Rated Seller webinars for our newsletter and recordings of all the past webinars. We really want you to tell us what you want to hear from us. Another way to stay connected is on our Facebook page. We actually have a Facebook group that is over 1,300 active sellers and growing. So if you have any questions that you have about selling, this is the place to ask. We also engage in conversations on Twitter. Please use the hashtag TRSW so we'll see your comment or questions. We love to engage with our audience, so please stay with us on Facebook, Twitter, and of course the newsletter. We really would like to thank our sponsors because, as you know, without sponsors, free education doesn't happen. Our sponsor this week is the Social Beacon. Social Beacon is a way to promote all of your marketplace selling items across the social networks. One place to handle your social media marketing. And remember, Social Beacon is free. Sign up at pagemage.com or socialbeacon.com. Stamps.com, all of your postage in one place. Thank you, Stamps, for sponsoring Top Rated Seller webinars. Check it out at stamps.com. And now we're ready for the top 5 tips for wild success in 2014. But we can't forget our other sponsors. Want to make sure we mention Terapeak. Terapeak now has a service for Amazon sellers also, so check out Terapeak. Terapeak.com. And of course, Cabbage.com. Can't forget them. Every business needs a little cabbage now and then. Get some money for your business at cabbagewithak.com. All right, Janelle, I think we're ready to be wildly successful in 2014.
That is awesome. Thank you, Kat. Hey, Kat, I can't see the questions, so as they come in, if they pertain to what we're talking about, can you holler at me? Otherwise, we can answer them at the end.
Absolutely. We'll handle it that way. Karen is on the question. She makes a great little document for us, so we have them all.
Excellent. Well, welcome, everyone. I am super excited to be here, and happy 2014. 2013 was a big year over at OSI Rockstars. And it was a big year because of some of the things that we're going to be talking about with you today. Our rock stars, a lot of them did 6-figure, 7-figure businesses, and it truly came from a lot of things we're going to be talking about today. My background is in marketing, math, and psychology, and art. So figure that one out. Like, I think I went to school for 25 years. So I'm really fascinated how things work, especially with our brain. And so I've studied the process of goals. What works for certain people and what doesn't work for other people. What makes one person successful, what doesn't make the other person in a very exact same situation unsuccessful. So we're going to talk about some of those tips today as well. I brought you 6 tips, mostly because I'm an overachiever, but 6 tips because I couldn't fit into 5. So we're going to talk about creating goals. We're going to talk about how do you make them smart. We're going to talk about going big in 2014, really big. We're going to talk about cloning yourself, a little bit of science involved today. We're going to talk about breathing, which is a key element for any entrepreneur. And we're going to talk about running your business from a smart perspective, a little bit different than number 2, but we're going to talk about that. I also brought for your listeners, for the top rated seller listeners, I brought a bonus surprise, and we'll talk about that a little bit more at the end, if you're okay with that, Kat.
Oh, we love surprises, especially free surprises. Thank you.
Well, I actually brought something that has actually helped Many of our rock stars become wildly successful, so I thought I would share it with your group today.
Is that one of the tools that helped somebody spend a month in Hawaii with their family last year? Oh my.
Yes.
Yes. That's a goal I like.
I want everybody to spend any time they want. I'm not a big fan of Hawaii, but wherever they want to go for a month, yes, that's where they should go.
Awesome.
So the 6 tips, not 5, but 6 tips start with number 1, which is your goals. Now, I have, again, like I said, been reading a ton of books about what makes one person successful, another person not. I've been in the entrepreneurial world since I can remember and have been honored to teach entrepreneurs for decades now. And it's fascinating to me. There are very specific things that make one person successful and another person not. And they're little things, amazingly. They're not big, huge things. It's simply how you do a bunch of the little things in your life that will determine your output. Now, case in point, one of the things that the rock stars do is they have on their yearly goal sheet, they have something called a 365-day goal. What this means is for 10-15 minutes every day, they do something. One of our rock stars is drawing trees because she's an artist, and so every day she's drawing trees. Another rock star is picking up her house for 10-15 minutes. Another person is writing down any thought that comes into their head. So kind of like journaling, but she's a writer, so she's just writing down anything that she can think about. Those are all little things, 10 to 15 minutes. Again, it's the little things, 10 to 15 minutes that they have decided to do. But at the end of a year, they'll have done those things for 90 plus hours. And that's how these little things start to add up. So if you do 10 to 15 minutes every day of playing Facebook games, congratulations, at the end of the year, you'll have 90 plus hours of Facebook games underneath your belt buckle. That's what we're talking about. These little things truly make a difference. So success tip number 1 is create goals for your business. Because if you don't, you're going to be working for somebody who does. Kind of freaked a few people out with that.
That's a
slide,
cool quote. Yes. That's one of those.
Right. I don't know anybody who has consistently truly been successful and growing in their business in the direction that they see as successful if they didn't have goals to get there. So number 1 is creating goals. And create them big. One of the things we have the rock stars do at the beginning of year is they write down their big goals, things that are really hard to reach for, that will cause them to grow a little bit. And I think growing as an entrepreneur is really a good thing. It's the same thing as you want to bring a mentor into your life that isn't at the same level as you, because you want that person to stretch you. You don't want to be in a group where you could probably teach the group because you're not going to grow as much. You're going to want to be someplace where people have gone ahead of you and maybe have been doing this for more years. So same thing with your goals. Really think big. Some of our goals from Rockstars were just awesome. We've got some people headed to Europe this year. We have some people paying off their house in the next 2 years. We have some people with high 7-figure goals, and knowing them, they will actually get there this year. So some pretty exciting things. So don't be afraid when you're writing down your goals to truly think big. This is your dream. You might as well go big or go get a real job. Like that's our choices, because you're not in this job to make money. That is one of the pieces, but you're in this business for other reasons. Because if it was just to make money, you would be able to get a job anywhere to make money. You're in this job for a variety of reasons. Maybe you like setting your own hours. Maybe you're like me and don't listen well to other people. There's a variety of reasons why we become entrepreneurs, and ultimately it's not about money. So make sure that your goals are a little bit bigger than what you would expect so that you are growing in 2014. Kat, what's one of your big goals in 2014, your stretch goals?
Well, I originally had a big goal of going on a family cruise, a Disney cruise. And my family told me they didn't want that. They wanted to go on a family vacation that was just all of us in a quiet place. So that's my goal, is to take my family, all 13 members of my family, on a fully paid for vacation for about a week in March, a year from March.
That is awesome. Can I ask our listeners a question? Do you mind
Sure.
fielding that for me, or
that.
Karen fielding for that? Can you ask them or I'm going to ask them, how many of them actually have goals that they have written down this year for 2014?
And that's the big difference too, the writing down. Okay, Karen and I'll watch. Molly says she, Tamara says she does, Martha, Joyce. Oh, there's one that says I don't have it. Good admission. Cindy Hamilton is here. She says yes, she does.
She better, yeah.
Steve and Charlene. Michael says it's a must. And Debbie says she hasn't written them down yet. There, now you know. And someone else, Marianne, has started working on them. A lot of people do, but a few people are saying, you know, I wanted to, but I haven't gotten there yet. So
yeah, we're probably 90% have them. And we got about 1% that hasn't actually written them down, but has them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And
so
Danny says all of her appsters better have written them down.
So let's talk about some things about goal setting, because I find that this is another big area that people have good intentions, but again, it's those little things. If you get your goals down wrong, or you don't actually write them down, or if they just rattle around in your head, there is a good probability that they won't happen. Again, me studying a ton of things that all the big universities, all the research that the big universities have done on how your mind processes things. So let's talk about some of those things that don't work in setting down goals. So the people who have written down their goals, they can kind of do a checklist with me over the next couple slides, making sure that they've done those things. But number two, if you haven't written them down yet, that's probably one of the first things you're going to want to do. So there's a study that those of us who teach love to quote, and some of us say it came from Harvard, some of us say it came from Yale, and it's the 3% study. And it basically goes like this. Back in the 70s, sometimes you'll hear the 50s, you know how good stories happen. They interviewed people from Harvard's MBA program. 84% really didn't have goals, or they were just rattling around in their head. 13% had goals, but they were not committed to paper, and 3% had clear goals that were written down on paper. They came and interviewed them 10 years later, and 13% of the class who had goals were earning, I want you guys to listen to this part, on average twice as much as the 84% who had no goals at all. Twice as much. So for those of you who had goals rattling around your head but you haven't written them down, you're still good to go. You've got twice as much the earning potential. But for those who wrote their goals down, physically took them from their head, from their heart, and wrote them down, can you guess how much more money they made than the people who didn't? 10 times as much as the 97% all put together. So we talk a lot, and you'll hear a lot of speakers talk about that 3% who wrote those goals down. Now, here's what's great about great stories. We can find bits and pieces of that study, but nobody can actually affirm that it actually happened. So the Dominican University said, we're going to recreate it. So there is a study, no matter who you listen to, there is studies out there that they know some certain pieces of what works and what doesn't in creating goals. Some of them have to do with obviously writing things down, accountability. At Rockstars, we have accountability partners. Your level of commitment to those goals. We'll talk about that in a second. And then most importantly, writing your goals down. If you don't have time to write down your goals, where are you going to find time to accomplish them? So I want those of you who haven't written your goals down yet to stop and think, what is it that's more important than writing your goals down? I know that the life of an entrepreneur is busy and fast, and we go to all hours of the morning. But honestly, I just showed you a study where they said writing your goals down significantly changes your success rate of actually achieving what it is that you want to do. I don't know any successful business who doesn't have a business plan. That's goal setting. At Rockstars, we do things a little bit different. When people become rock stars, they do a big plan. Big from today until the business ends plan. But we also do a yearly plan. That's what the Rockstars are working on now in January. And then they also do, because this works so incredibly well, they also do a Q4 plan. Very intentional goals of what's going to happen for them in Q4. That's why this is so incredibly important. And we're definitely seeing results. Forget about Harvard, forget about Yale. We're seeing results right there at Rockstars of getting your goals written down. So I want you guys to honor your business and your own personal dreams of making sure that you're writing your goals down. There is something in a psychology standpoint that happens that when you write something down, there's an accountability to yourself, not just to another person, but to yourself. Okay? All right, so when you write them down, you're going to write them down in SMART goal setting. Kat and Karen, can you check and see how many people write down SMART goals?
Yes, who understands what a SMART goal is? I'll let Karen tally the numbers.
The multitudes.
Yes, who knows what a SMART goal is? And this is another one of those things where I've seen different words in front of them, but they all mean the same thing.
Right.
Right.
So one of the things that I'll just butt in when you have that number, you guys. But
go for it, Karen.
One of the things that we do at Rockstars very intentionally is we don't let you create fluff goals. Now, fluff goals aren't your big goals. Those are your dream goals. Fluff goals are when you give yourself wiggle room to make sure that things don't get done. Now, I'm a perfectly bad example of this. If I write down in my health goals that I'm going to work out at the gym, that's a fluff goal. That's too vague. And that gives me plenty of wiggle room of I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it next week. I'll do it next month. There's too much wiggle room. SMART goals are specific, measurable, attainable. We call them realistic and timely. And if you have that in there, it would be, instead of saying I'm going to the gym this year, it would be to say I'm going to the gym 3 times every week and I'm going to work out for 25 minutes. That now is a SMART goal. There's a huge difference in your success rate between goals and SMART goals. Karen, what are we looking like on the boards?
Karen, we don't hear you.
I was my unbuttoned, whatever. Okay, we have 8 that yes, they use SMART goals, 1 says no, and 2 say they don't know.
So now they do. Cool.
And I know that we have way more people than that on the
Yep, but that's the answers I got.
we have a lot of, I'm not admitting to anything over there.
Fair enough. And I think it's awesome that you're here in this class to learn some of the success steps that people who are wildly successful take. I think it's awesome that you're here. So SMART goals, taking something that's vague and making it specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. So take a look at those goals that are either in your head or written down, or when you do get them written down, and make sure that they are SMART goals. We actually spend at Rockstars 2 or 3 weeks on making sure your goals are SMART goals. It's not a thing that comes naturally to us as human beings or as entrepreneurs in the slightest. But we have found when we make them SMART goals, when we go through this process, things are more likely to get done. In doing the Rockstar big goal setting, we also use a funnel. We go from big dream goals all the way down through the process down to daily to-do list. Big goals, I'm going to Hawaii this year, don't have to be SMART. But once you start getting down into your monthly, weekly, and definitely your daily ones, those had better be SMART. Otherwise, again, like me, you're going to go, I'm going to go to the gym tomorrow, and tomorrow just never happens at all. Now, we know a couple other things that are really important when you set goals. You guys knew that goals were important, but there's some really specific things that you've got to make sure that you do when you're working on them. One of the things that we found is sometimes goals are too big. I'm not talking dream goals. I'm talking too big to be attainable. They have found that the more you break down your big goals into smaller goals, the more likely you are to be successful. So again, like I was talking about the 365, if I said, I want you to do 90 hours of housework, I think a few of you guys would shoot me. Can you imagine 90 hours of homework? But if I say every day I want you for 10 or 15 minutes to pick up your house, that's a totally different accomplishment. And here's what's amazing. One sets you up for success, one sets you up for failure. There's suddenly a defeatist attitude that comes in when I say I want you to do 90 hours of housework versus I want you today to do 15 minutes. Today is doable. Yesterday's gone. Tomorrow we don't have to think about today is doable. So breaking things down into smaller goals, we found that people are much more likely to accomplish their goals ultimately if we break them down into a daily to-do list.
And I love this one quote you've got here, Janelle. This quote really spoke to me. And one of the classes you had it on, giving up on your goal because of one setback is like slashing your other 3 tires because you got a flat. This really spoke to me because I am one of those, if I set a goal to have something done by Friday and it's not done by Friday, I'll spend all weekend beating up on myself. And this really spoke to me, so I want to make sure everybody paid attention to this one, actually.
Yep, it's no big deal to start over again tomorrow or start over again on Monday. It's honestly no big deal. What is a big deal is giving up. That is the big deal. And at Rockstars, that's why I'm not a big fan of giving up. So last year was a crazy year for me, crazy big year. I had been given a ministry where we were to record the Bible in its entirety. God is humorous, and that was like saying to me, you've got 90 hours of housework to do, because that was a big project. It was 730 videos, approximately 4 hours a day of work. And I'm already super busy. Like, how am I going to fit another 4 hours into it? But again, the only way it got accomplished, besides obviously God, is breaking it down into smaller pieces. Kat worked on the project with me, and same thing for her. We had a checklist, we had a spreadsheet, so we had our big goals, we had monthly goals, we had daily goals to do, and checking them off. We were each other's accountability partner. All of the things I'm telling you allowed us to, at the end of the year, have the entire Bible recorded, up on social media, 730 videos. How would you like to create 730 videos for your business? But we did it. In 1 year, we created 730 videos. So the things I'm telling you truly do work, and you can apply them to all different areas of your life. At Rockstars, we talk about all the areas of your life. We don't believe an entrepreneur is just business, because if you were just business, again, you'd be working in the real world. You are your personal, you are your spiritual, you are your health. We've got to talk about all of those things. And these things you can apply to all the different areas of your life. And thanks to Kat for helping me so much on that big project. Whew, that was hard. Another piece of this is the accountability piece. Try and have your accountability partner just not be your husband or your wife. Truly try and have it be somebody who doesn't know you as well. Accountability will succeed much better if it's not just a significant other in your life or a close friend. Close friends and significant others tend to allow you to have wiggle room. I can talk my way in and out of anything with almost anybody except my accountability partner. I'm really good at walking the gym with my trainer and talking him out of working out that day. And I keep telling him, I'm like, don't let me do this. And he's just not strong enough. So again, your accountability partner, that we know that that's a big piece of your goals. So once you go through this process of writing them down, making sure they're smart, breaking them down into a funnel, big all the way down into a daily to-do list, make sure that you have an accountability partner that's walking alongside of you. Maybe a lot of our rock stars check in with each other once a week right before their success steps are due. Whatever works for you, but try and have an accountability partner. Go back to Facebook or wherever social media you're at and say, hey, can somebody work with me on this? I guarantee that your goal to lose weight, your goal to do 7 figures, your goal to work on your marriage will be so much better if you have somebody checking in with you and working through you with that. Good?
Amen. That's and you know what? It's hard to reach out. Someone asked about who are the rock stars. That's Janelle's membership group that she runs. And I'm a part of that. I'm very happy. And if you have a group like that, there's your accountability partners right there built in. Yeah. Even if you don't, you'll be surprised if you just reach out in social media. There are a lot of other people out there looking for someone to work with them too.
Right, and that makes 2 of you now being successful instead of nobody being successful this year. So we're going to talk a little bit more about your daily to-do list and why that's so important when we get to the bonus I brought with me today. Yeah. Success tip number 3 is taking risk. If you are an entrepreneur, risks are part of the ball game. However, there is a huge difference between risk and being reckless. And I want to be really clear about that. I see reckless all of the time, and they will definitely be flash in the pan entrepreneurs, and they're not going to be around very long. And I suspect a few of you are going through your head going, yeah, I totally know those people. I am a huge risk taker, people from the real world who look at my life go, oh my goodness, Janelle, I could never do what you do. You're crazy. However, my risks are calculated risk. I learn through education. I watch other people. I research. Even though it looks like a big risk when I go to spend $135 on a piece of glass, because of that research and because I've been educated by Danny, I know that that piece of glass is going to be worth way more money. So as everybody gasped that I spent that much money at the store on that piece of glass, it truly was a calculated risk. It wasn't just a reckless risk. So I want you guys to be really clear about that. I had somebody the other day, it wasn't just this the other day, but it was kind of long going, where they fussed at me about going on to Amazon selling through FBA. And for those of you who sell on there, for a lot of you, it's making you a ton of money, kind of crazy money. And they had every reason in the book why they weren't going to sell on FBA. We just don't understand it. We don't know what to do. We've heard all these stories. I'm sure you guys have seen similar things on social media. And so finally I stopped them and I said, so you're telling me when you were born you already knew about eBay? eBay to me is way harder than Amazon ever could be, especially now. Like when I started it was pretty easy, but now there's like all these rules and regulations. And I said there was a point in your life where you had to stop and go through a learning curve of learning how to do eBay. There was a part of your life where you had to stop and learn how to ride a bike. There was a part of your life where you had to stop and learn how to eat food. We are all constantly learning. So be really careful about stopping yourself. That's why I always say big goals, big dream goals. Don't stop yourself, because as an entrepreneur, you are going to need to take those risks and make sure that your business is moving forward because of those calculated risks that you're willing to take. And it doesn't mean that everybody has to be as big a risk taker as me. I don't expect that. But I want you guys to think, for some of you who've been in this business a long time, when you first started out, your risk was low, right? You were willing to buy something for $1 that would sell for 10. We've all kind of been through that stage. Then our risk comfort level gets higher and higher and higher, but it's calculated. We've learned, we've gone through processes, we've learned the hard way through mistakes. Whatever that looks like. So be a little bit careful. If you are too timid in your business, that wildly successful part can't happen. But be careful and watch your language, because if you hear yourself making excuses, it's probably a telling sign that there's something uncomfortable there for you, and you've got to go back and figure out what that is.
Janelle, you find the greatest pictures. I absolutely love this. And for those of you who are enjoying this picture and looking at the people in the front row, you've got to make sure you look back and see the two ladies in the third row to really get the meaning. And Marianne, we're sorry. Marianne says we forgot to get her permission to use her picture. So sorry about that, Marianne. Oh, and your risk about the $130 piece of glass, Danny Ackerman happens to be in the chat room, and she says, we listed that piece for $8,000. So that's the kind of risk I like, Janelle.
Yeah, but again, it comes from a lot of the things we're talking about. Setting goals. We're going to talk about education. We're going to talk about risk taking. There was a risk in that. I did have Danny. I did have the money. I did know the marketplace. There was pieces that I could make decisions on, but with entrepreneurship, there is always going to be the piece that you don't know. Yeah. And some of it's kind of silly, like how do we know that eBay is going to be there tomorrow? Although that's getting a little bit more of a reality lately. Yeah, we don't know. We also don't know, is the buyer going to show up? How long is that piece going to sit in my store? Can I do without that $130 some odd, and for how long? So there are risks, but there's also pieces of that risk that you can work on. Yeah, and so be a little bit careful.
And this is such a great picture. I mean, I just realized, look at the ladies in the second row. All three of these ladies experienced the same thing. The first row is having a blast. They'll never forget this ride they took. Second row is looking at those ladies going, yeah, boy, they're having fun. And the third row is going, is it dinner time yet?
Right. We're totally bored.
Yeah.
Yep. And I see that a lot with our rock stars as they accomplish goals, as they take risk and move outside their comfort zone. That confidence as you do more and more things outside your comfort zone just builds your business up. That's part of that succeeding wildly part. You're never going to get to that if you're cautious, if you always have an excuse, if you're always not sure about things. So really take a look at your risk level. Make sure it's not reckless, but that your calculated risk is there as well.
Yep.
So success tip number 4 actually comes from my friend Sid Savara, who is amazing. I'm sure some of you guys know who he is. Sid and I talk a similar language, so we're very much in tune. One of the big things that I talk about constantly is there is no way that your business is going to succeed wildly if you do it by yourself. This is not a martyrdom, this is entrepreneurship. And my poor rock stars hear this all the time. But it's such a big, important thing that we've got to get this part right. If it is just you or just you and your husband, there literally is only so much time in the day, period. At some point, you have to sleep and eat. No matter who you are, you have to sleep and eat. And time has not become available for sale on eBay yet. So truly, we all have the exact same amount of time. However, if you live your business that way, you will, I would say, it become almost impossible to grow because you're doing the same thing with the same amount of hours over and over and over again. However, I'm hearing somebody's mic, Kat.
Yep, sorry, that was me. I pushed a wrong button.
However, I would like to see you guys increase your productivity. How would you like to clone you times 4 or times 8 or times 12? I had a friend who came to me and said, I do not know how you get everything done that you do. Well, it's no big mystery. I do sleep. People tease me all the time I don't sleep. I do sleep. I sleep 8-9 hours a day. I do eat. I do go on vacations. I do all the things in a balanced life that you should. But I get them done in this way. I allow other things to clone me. I allow other things to do my business. So I want you guys to stop for a second. And Karen, maybe you can help me with this. What are the things that you're doing in your business that a person, a software, an app, or a company could do for you instead?
Well,
now,
there's lots of things.
Right. My rock stars know that this takes the form of a lot of things, not just in business. But what if you had somebody come in and clean your house every week? Right?
Yep.
A lot of our rock stars do that. That frees up the time that you would do that to either do more business or have family time, right? So it's not just business things that we want to work on having a company, a software, an app, or a person take over. Karen, did they come up with some things?
They did. Take the photos, edit the pictures, send tracking numbers to customers, house cleaning. Somebody has to get another one because theirs moved. So those are some of the things they came up with.
So I want you guys to stop and think. I always talk about eBay and PayPal and even Google being my employees because they help me out so much with my business. Think about other companies that help you with your business. PageMate, who does instant marketing for you into all of your listings. GoDaddy Bookkeeping that helps keep track of all of those crazy numbers that go every which what way. Is there companies out there that can help you with your business, can clone you? Is there software? One of my favorite pieces of software is stamps.com. I don't know how I could do business without stamps. They make my life so easy. They run all of my businesses, so they help me with multi-channel. Because they came in with a process, now I have freed up more hours to go do something else, whether that's business or personal. In order to be in business, this kind of goes back to the risk-taking. You truly, truly have to either have a smartphone or, boy, it better be on your goal sheet this year to have a smartphone. I'm not sure how we did business before smartphones. I feel like we were at such a hindrance back then, a huge disadvantage. But now there's so many apps on my phone that do my business for me. Terapeak is a big one that does my business for me online. Profit Bandit is another one, an app on my phone that I can search for Amazon. Evernote, Charlene, one of our rock stars, teaches about Evernote. Evernote's awesome at keeping track of information, especially like at trade shows. If this, then that, that's what IFTTT is. If this, then that, love. They're probably one of my most active employees at this point. Completely free. They take apps basically and swish them together for you and make what's called recipes. So IFTTT, did I get enough T's in there?
I think so.
If this, then that, will do things like this. They'll take a search on Craigslist where I'm looking for a certain, say, part for a motorcycle that I always sell. And when they find it, they'll email it to me in my email inbox, or I can actually have it be sent straight to my VA to check out. Okay? I'm not having to do anything. I simply set it up once and it does all the work for me constantly throughout the day and throughout the night when I am sleeping. And then the part that a lot of people struggle with is the other person. Hiring employees, hiring VAs. I want you guys to know at Christmas time, I went on vacation. Most people would have heart attacks of going on vacation on Q4. I went the second week of December. It wasn't even Christmas time. Second week of December. What is one of the busiest times you guys have?
Second week of December.
Right. And I did great. I wasn't worried in the slightest. I had my stuff in the Amazon. Amazon sold for me. I had 2 employees here locally who were working for me. And I also had a virtual employee. That allowed me to clone myself so that I could go on vacation and see New York at Christmas time. This is how I want your life to be, because if you're doing everything in your business, you're going to constantly struggle. That succeed wildly will be out of your grasp. Now, I have no doubt that some of you guys are sitting there going, that's great, Janelle, but I can't afford it. I understand that, because I would say for most of us, we were all there at some point. So pick one thing. Pick one thing that you can afford. And I want you guys to think of it as a trade-off, because if that one thing is, let's say, $10 a week, but they make you $20 a week, or they save you a couple hours in time, gosh, I certainly hope that you can make more than $10 an hour in what you sell and what you do in your business. So I want you to think about taking just one thing. Can you afford $10 a week and swapping out something that somebody else can do for $10? And a lot of us who have VAs, we're paying them $2 to $4 an hour. So that's an extra 2 to 3 hours a week. What would you do with an extra 2 to 3 hours a week? Hopefully you can make, like I said, more than $10 an hour for what you're paying them. I really want you to think about that. We work really hard at OSI Rockstars of moving time around. We all have the same amount of time. But what you do with it, how you compound it, just like compounding interest, is how much you're able to grow.
And there are so many things that eBay and Amazon sellers need done on a regular basis that just are rote things. Amazon sellers need to go into their inventory and make sure that things aren't missing and aren't damaged. eBay sellers need to update their listings because eBay changed the item specifics in a category. And those are very, very simple things that you can have someone do that very inexpensively. Thank you.
And the class that we teach about this at Rockstars, because we talk about this a ton at Rockstars, one of the first things we have the Rockstars do is write down what they do every single day for a week. And then we have them go back and attach the word VA or employee next to it. Doesn't mean you're going to hire people for all those things right off the bat, but at least it gives you an indication of how many things you can eventually move off your plate. It's astounding to me. We had a rock star that came in and she was doing pretty good on her own, you know, power seller, top rated seller then, starting to head towards shooting star. She has now added 3 VAs to her business, and instead of just tripling her business, I think it's almost like quad or 500% increase, just because she suddenly has all this time to make the big money with what she should be doing, and all these little piddly things were taken off of her plate. By people, again, she pays them about $3 to $4 an hour, and they've taken all of this off of her plate, and now she can concentrate on where that big money comes from. It's been astounding, absolutely watching it. Okay, so I would love to teach a class right now on how you do this, but I'm sure top rated sellers will do that, or ask Kat, she's a genius with stuff like that.
And Karen is great at this, yep.
Yep, well, Karen's a VA, so she better be, right?
And Karen and I both do this from both sides, so that's kind of interesting.
Exactly. So understand the way to grow your business is cloning you. Really, truly think, is there a company, a software, an app, a person that can help you with your business? Okay? That's a huge one. I hope people understand how big that is. Success tip number 5 is I want you to take a break. Now, for all of you who are digging your feet in and going, Janelle, I work so hard, I can't do this. You're joking me. Do you understand? I work till sun comes up, sun goes down, the whole 9 yards. I never sleep. I am speaking to you because I used to be that person. Okay? Number 1, we just talked about the VA part. How do you get something to take some stuff off of your plate, even if it's a couple hours each week? I've been studying a lot about taking time off. What does time look like? What does that breathing aspect look like in a business? And it is huge. It's not just taking 2 hours off and you're refreshed for 2 hours. That 2 hours, again, has that compounding effect throughout the rest of your week. If you can just go and do something that is meaningful to you for 2 hours, it's incredibly important. It has to be intentional. I was just talking to some of my coaching clients this morning. It has to be intentional. It can't be, oh, we're going to do this, because then it will never show up, right? It will never get to that point. You actually need to be intentional about taking that time off. I'm Christian, so the Sabbath part is part of this, right? And that's where a lot of my research has come from. And Sabbath to most people is taking Sunday off, day of God. And it's important, but I couldn't take Sunday off for a variety of reasons. And where I live is where I work. And so taking time off for a couple hours in the afternoon doesn't work, because in my house, all I want to do is go check my computer. So you really need to look at your boundaries of your business and figure out, what does this make sense to you? What I do now is I take 2 to 3 days off every single month. That is my refreshing time. That works with my time patterns. That works with how I do business. It works for me to leave my house and go do something. But honestly, sometimes just going to a movie for a couple hours is important. Playing a round of golf. Whatever that looks like to you, taking a break is incredibly important to your business. These are the top tips for being wildly successful. I want you guys to stop and give yourself a break and understand this is an important part of your business. Kat, when was the last time that you took a break?
Oh, I knew she was going to ask that.
Right?
I have actually on my goal list this week is supposed to be figuring out what a Sabbath looks to me. It looks like to me, because I have the same issues you do. I work where I live where I work and all of that, and I'm looking at what you said, the 2 to 3 days a month, and I'm thinking, that might actually work. So
yeah. But again, it has to be intentional. It has to be part of your, we call them roadmap to success over at Rockstars, but your goal setting. It has to be part of your goal setting. A lot of our rock stars are headed to Hawaii this year. Hawaii is becoming a destination for the rock stars. A lot of them are headed to, Scotland, Ireland. We've got some people going to Greece this year. Me, I'm a New York girl. I head there every Christmas time. Whatever is time away for you, this is very important. And if your business isn't set up so that you can do these things, your business is set up wrong. I don't mean to be blunt. Well, I'm very opinionated, but I don't mean to be blunt, but I really want you guys to have a healthy business. I don't know why you're an entrepreneur if you don't also have that joyful part of being an entrepreneur, meaning you can shift your time around and you can take time off with the family. Like Kat's going to go take off quiet time with the family. People I know are going to, I have a client who's in Disney World right now, this week with her family. She runs a $7-figure business. That's right, 7 figures, right?
Yep.
Over $1 million business. Quite a few higher than $1 million business, and she's in Disney World right now. Understand that this is a crucial part of your business. There was a point in time where I worked like many of you did. I swear 24/7. I never took a break. I never did anything else. And I truly hit the point of being exhausted, burnt out. That level of stress affects your health dramatically, and I don't want that for you guys. One of the key tips any person who is successful will tell you is you've got to take time out with you, with your family, with your grandkids, a day away, even if it's 2 hours away, plan vacations, whatever that looks like. It is so incredibly important, and that's why it's in this presentation. There's so much I could teach you about being successful, and this truly made the top 5. So that's why I'm talking about it. We all have those days where we just want to hide underneath the desk, where nothing seems to go right. I promise you, eBay, Amazon, Facebook will still be there in 2 hours if you go take a walk down the street. For me, it's down to the beach right here. Whatever that looks like, just learn how to breathe in your business. Learn how to take time out in your business. Again, those 2 hours are not just 2 hours. Those are compounding hours, just like compounding interest. Those are compounding hours as well. And it's so funny that we talk about breathing, because it's so important that when you join OSI Rockstars, I personally create for you a Breathe tour guide. This is, you come into Rockstars, you're overwhelmed. There's over 1,000 hours of training in there. I create for you a Breathe tour guide. This is what you need. This is your first few classes. Here's some suggestions. Here's what this looks like. It's going to be okay. You've got to do that in your business too. You've got to figure out where that breathing happens in your business. Very important. Because we'll go crazy, right, Kat?
Yes, absolutely. And I thought back, and I did remember a time I sat down. We have family dinners once a week with our whole extended family. So that's the last time I got away from the work.
but that's good. But now it has to become intentional. And somebody said to me, "Oh, I like spontaneity in my life." Well, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, some of this does have to be planned. So you're going to have to plan date nights. You're going to have to plan golfing time. You're going to have to plan that trip. It does need to be planned, but it's also goals written down that you can work towards. Yep. I'm headed to Iceland. I wouldn't ever do that if that wasn't written down. So
cool.
Yeah. I know it's weird, but I've always wanted to go to Iceland, so I'm excited. I'm just weird like that.
Yeah, I'm looking for the beach and she's looking for Iceland, but
I don't do warm very well. So yeah, you guys can all have Hawaii. But it's so funny how many of our rock stars are headed to Hawaii this year. But yeah.
Yep. Well, it seems like every time one of them goes, they come back and say how wonderful it is, and then two go. And then those two come back and say how wonderful it is. Next time I know 4 people are going.
Right. Wasn't there like 4 who all met up there last time?
Yes,
like I was laughing.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. And it's not just like for a 2-day trip. Melissa went for a month. Yeah. That's awesome. So success tip number 6, again, I know it was supposed to be 5, but this was really important. And it's something that a lot of people talk about, but they talk about in the wrong way. I want to read this to you. Do not spoil what you have by desiring what you have not, but remember that what you now have was once among the things you had only hoped for. Tip number 6 is about education. I am baffled at people who think that they don't need to learn anymore, that they're going to be wildly successful entrepreneurs on their own. And I talked to one person and he said, everything I've ever learned has been on the internet. And I said, okay, that's awesome. How many hours did you spend searching out all of that information, testing it out, figuring out what worked in your business? He's like, oh, well, I've been doing this for 15 years. I'm like, and you're still struggling. And that hurt my heart, that there were people and places he could have gone to fine-tune that. In fact, he probably could have learned everything he needed in about 6 months and been on his success way. But he wanted to do it on his own. Again, this is not a martyrdom. This is an entrepreneurship. And there is never a time where you should stop learning. There are so many educators out there. Kat is one of them. Karen, I know, teaches. Danny is one of them. John Lawson is one of them. Lynn Drawley is one of them. I am one of them. There are people out there. And it doesn't mean that everyone fits OSI Rockstars. I love Rockstars, and I love the Rockstars. They're absolutely amazing people. But it doesn't mean that everybody fits there. So find the education place that works for you. Perhaps it's a Facebook group. Perhaps it's a private group on Yahoo. I know one of our rock stars runs a private group on Yahoo. Whatever that looks like to you, but please do not stop learning. It's awesome that you guys are here. I'm kind of preaching to the choir. You guys are here. You guys are learning. And that's incredible. But please don't ever give up learning. And don't spend 15 years searching the internet for answers when there's other people who've already invented that wheel for you. Okay? All right. So education to me is a big thing. I love this quote. Education to me is a big deal. Please go and find somebody that will help you. For some of you guys, that's going to be a private mentor, a coach one-on-one. For some of you, it's going to be a membership group where you're learning with other success-minded people. And for some of you, it may be a group in person. Meetup has great opportunities for you to either start a group or attend a group already in your area. Okay? All right.
Awesome.
And I know Kat's really big on education too.
Oh yeah, and there's so many opportunities now.
There is. And do be careful because there's so many opportunities out there with bad information. So please double check who you're signing up for and their information. Because there's people out there saying the wrong thing and it drives me crazy. It's probably my biggest pet peeve is fixing wrong information out there. But yeah, find what fits for you. Find where your space is. A lot of times we'll have people join Rockstars and they fit in awesomely. Other times, a couple times I've had people join Rockstars and the way that they learn and their type of business didn't fit Rockstars. And so I just handheld them over to somebody who I know that they would fit better with. I'll call Lynn Drawley up and say, hey, I've got a person that fits in much better with your group and she's going to grow so much better in your group than she ever will in mine. It's not good or bad, it's just different personalities, different ways of learning, different information. Yeah, so find what fits for your business. I think that's really important, which is why I added tip number 6, never stop learning. At Rockstars, we always assign you success steps. This is crucial to your success. I hate people who give out webinars and never hold you accountable to anything. So your success steps are to create your goals, make sure that they're smart. Really, truly take risk in your business. Make sure they're calculated, but be willing to be uncomfortable. Nobody ever said being an entrepreneur is comfortable in the slightest. Learn how to make the things you do multiply through companies, VAs, apps, software, and then take time out from your business for you, for your family, for your marriage, for your kids, for your grandkids, and then never stop learning. Always figure out, even if you have to intentionally put it in your roadmap to success, maybe once a week you're going to learn about something. I know when the home run guide comes out, I have people who email me, Kat, who said, okay, every week for, what would it be, 50 weeks, I'm going to learn one thing out of the home run guide, and I'm going to go and look for that thing. And then the next week I'm going to learn the next thing in the home run guide, and I'm going to go. So however you learn and whatever way that you learn, just please promise me that you'll never stop learning. So those are your success steps. I suspect a few people would like their bonuses as well.
Well, actually, they're really active. I can't wait to hear Karen go over the questions because they're really busy in the chat room.
Okay, well, let's give you your bonus. If you head over to ChooseSuccess2014.com, at the top, currently we're running a special promotion for OSI Rockstars. We'll talk about that in a second. But if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll actually see this. If you click download here, what you will see is this. And it's a downloaded Excel spreadsheet that we use at OSI Rockstars. And this is the spreadsheet that allows people to go to Hawaii for a month, like Kat was saying. But this is the same spreadsheet that allows for 6- and 7-figure businesses. This is sparkly. Writing down all the things you do in your life and what you need to get rid of. Like if you belong to 30 Facebook groups, I'm going to say that that's too much. I have no problem saying that it's too much. So this is and our Rockstars filled in other things that were sparkly to them, distractions to them, or squirrel. A lot of people know that reference. We write down what we did last year and what we're going to do this year, and you can see it goes through the funnel from really big to quarterly to monthly to weekly to daily. And then we also have a process from a psychology standpoint that we teach at Rockstars called the daily to-do list. And there is a very specific psychological aspect to this, whereas you fill out your to-do list the night before. There's amazing studies, multitudes of studies that show that your brain, actually your subconscious, works on problems throughout the night. If you do your to-do list the night before when you get up in the morning, I guarantee that next day's to-do list will go much easier because your brain, while you have been sleeping, again, we're compounding, right? We're cloning you. Your brain has been working on those issues. We also have a very specific way of doing daily to-do list that again lead to success. We only allow you to put 3 big things on there. We talk about what happens when you get up. We talk about what happens when you go to sleep. Right before you go to sleep, we talk about a daily schedule. It's very specific. But I wanted you guys to have a copy in case you haven't started to write your goals down, in case you wanted to go through the same funnel process, the roadmap to success that the rock stars do. And again, remember the SMART part. That's why I put it up here. Make sure that these are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. So you can find that over at choosesuccess2014.com. It's just an Excel download. And at the top is our special prices that are only good until the 13th of February. Currently, Rockstar pricing, you can see at the top, it's going up dramatically starting Valentine's Day. We have over 1,000 hours of content. My advisors are fussing at me. They want it to be $5,000 a year membership. I arm wrestled them and we got it down to 2,000. But I do want to warn you guys, if you've ever thought about being a rock star, if you've ever wanted to join a success-minded, succeed wildly group, now I would say it's the time to do it up until the 13th. You're grandfathered into this great price of $79 a month or $4.99 a year for the lifetime of you being a rock star. And that's going to be pretty amazing when we're going to have people coming in next year who are paying $2,000, and it will go up from that. So again, choosesuccess2014.com will get you to these great rates, but more importantly for you guys, it will get you to the bonus of that Excel gold sheet. Good?
Awesome. Awesome. And believe me, guys, all of the links and everything will be in the follow-up videos and PDFs, so you won't lose it. But if you want to give it again, choosesuccess2014.com.
I'm hoping that's pretty easy.
Okay.
You know, one of the things that we talk about with this goal sheet and why it's so important and why I made it a bonus, and I really thought about that because it's something that was created exclusively for the rock stars, and it's a process for the rock stars, but they did so awesome with it that I thought, gosh, the listeners of Top Rated Seller could also do awesome with it. Carol, one of our rock stars, wrote to me and she said, she was telling me about her numbers, again, from doing the goal sheets. And she said, my Amazon revenue is up 2,109%. She said, no decimal point is missing, 2,109%. And it's exciting. And that's where these things happen is all of these steps that we've talked about, the goal, the writing them down, making them smart, breaking them down, risk-taking, education, making sure you take a break. All of these things are crucial. And then, of course, the cloning you. Yep. No other way to do it.
I'm so glad that you released that spreadsheet because I know how many hours you put into making it right because we've used it a couple years and each year you tweak it a little bit, make it a little bit better. So I know that you spend a lot of hours creating it for your membership, but I'm really, really appreciate that you gave it to our listeners too because it really does help. It makes a big, huge goal like a family vacation for 13 people broken down into what do I need to do daily to get there. So I'm really, and they're all in the chat room, they're all saying, thank you, love the spreadsheet, really appreciate it. Okay.
Oh, good. And you know, what I would love from you guys is to hear how you did. The rock stars know nothing gets me more excited than people accomplishing their goals and seeing their businesses grow and seeing them grow personally. And I love those stories. I think I get more excited about their stories than my stories.
She does love success stories, I'll tell you that.
Yep. So I want
to encourage them to do the sparkly part, the very first sheet, because you will be so shocked. And Facebook has a lot of great groups where you can get a lot of information, but they have a problem. You can't invite someone to a group. You can only add them to a group. So you may not even realize how many groups. This is the sheet that I filled out, I think it was last year, and discovered I belong to not 30, but 110 Facebook groups.
Yeah.
Is it only that, Kat?
Oh, there was many of them that I didn't even know what they were, and they had weird names with like apostrophes and stars in the name. I didn't even know what they were. So this was really a good eye-opener for me.
Well, I think one of the things too is we really don't see how much noise is in our life until we're intentional about looking for it. I was talking to a client and I said, how many times do you go down an aisle and not see products because you're going after what you want? So your email account may be filled with 1,000 emails, and you're only really truly paying attention to 10, but you still have to do something with those other ones. You either have to delete them or respond to them or file them away. That's a lot of extra work for noise. In your Facebook feed, you should only be seeing things that are valuable to your time. A lot of people need to be unfriended from your Facebook group, or hidden. You can hide friends so you don't offend them. But you would be surprised how much noise you have in your life. How many of you guys have the thing in your house that you stepped over every single morning instead of just put it away? If you have stairs, usually it's at the top or the bottom of the stairs you do that. I'm sure. I know I'm not the only one. So this noise, we call it sparkly things over at Rockstars. These are the things that need to get removed from your life so you can truly have a clear vision of what's going to happen.
Absolutely. All right, I think we're ready for Q&A. Karen, you're up.
Okay, and there's not a whole lot of them. A lot of them are around the same topic, so we can cover it all at once. But one of the interesting ones that just came through was, I don't belong to any groups, newsletters, or blogs. Is that weird, and what am I missing?
I wouldn't say it's weird. I think it's just a level of exposure. So back to success tip number 6 about learning, right? I think there's some really great newsletters out there. I subscribe to probably a half a dozen newsletters that are valuable to me. I think there's some really good Facebook groups out there. So I think that, again, that success tip number 6 is going to be really important for you. The learning part. I don't want you to go and add 20 of them, but there are newsletters out there. And I don't mean the newsletter that you have to go through 6 newsletters and find one golden nugget. I mean that every time they come in, you're like, holy cow, and you really pay attention to them and you really read them. If somebody's newsletter isn't doing that for you, unsubscribe. If my newsletter doesn't do that for you, unsubscribe. I don't send them out hardly even close to as often as I used to. But when I send it out, I try and have information that will help you, like signing up for this webinar, information about our rock star who just made the New York Times, which was awesome. Mm-hmm. Valuable things that will help you with your success. I try and not fill it with a bunch of fluff. Go and look for those newsletters. There's some really great ones out there. Also find the people that are like you. I'm attracted to very positive-minded people. The groups that are negative or grouchy or allow people who are grumpy or whining, I won't belong to, or I'll unsubscribe from those groups. But there's some really great groups out there as well. And I'm sure Kat can put some links when she sends this back out in there. So yes, tip number 6 for you is very important, that learning aspect. Follow people who've already invented that wheel for you. You'll be absolutely astounded at how many things they'll share for free with you.
Yeah, there are a lot of good groups. I find a lot of great information in some of them.
And Chris put the link in the chat. If you guys can see the chat room, there's the link to the Top Rated Seller webinar group, which is a great group to join.
Exactly. Okay. David was looking at the spreadsheet you shared as the bonus, and he was asking you to define the difference between marketing versus financial.
Oh, great question, David. So marketing, my background's in marketing, so my poor rock stars get a ton of marketing. They have to have their marketing down for their business. So marketing would be things like, are you going to run Facebook ads? What kind of Facebook page are you going to put together? Are you going to have Google ads? Are you going to go to trade shows and hand out business cards? For eBay, it would probably be business cards. It would probably be some sort of outside marketing. What does marketing look like for your business? For financial, that has to do with what you want to do in your business. It can also mean financial, meaning how are you taking care of accounting, taxes, all those fun things that nobody wants to talk about. It can also mean that. So this is a working, let me get back to that sheet really quick. This is a working sheet, meaning I always make the rock stars make it their own. We have one rock star who you wouldn't even recognize this spreadsheet because she turns it into, she has a map that goes with it. It's like a whole adventure. She has different people. She assigns things, like it's crazy, like it's almost like a board game, like it's very intricate. She has pictures, but it works for her. So same thing for you, David. If financial doesn't quite make sense, you can insert another one here, and maybe you say accounting, and financial means money goals. So you can change this to mean anything that you want. This is just kind of a structure that I would love to take you to take it and make it whatever it is yours. Like we have people who have multiple eBay stores, multiple Amazon businesses. They don't sell on Etsy, but they have multiple websites. So they really go in here and change this according to their business. Does that answer David's question?
I think that's a good one.
Okay.
Okay, Karen?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, I'm here. Okay, one of the next questions just came in is, can they have their eBay business on Facebook? She's not really up on social media right now.
You cut out right as you said that question, Karen. Do you mind repeating it?
Yeah, I know. Things are breaking up on my end. Christine wants to know if she can have her eBay business on Facebook.
I think what she's asking is, can she just have her business versus needing a personal account?
Yeah, so Christine, that's a great question. It's a great place to start. There are things called business pages. So you have a personal account on Facebook, a Christine personal page, right? It's where you get all your stuff from your friends. From there, you can create what's called a business page. This is where you would name the page after your eBay business. And it's where you would put up stuff about your business. Big rule, stuff from your personal doesn't go on your business. That's a big pet peeve of mine. Somebody on their business page just posted something about their child winning an award at school, something or other. I'm like, your business people, although I'm sure they care about you, truly aren't fans of your business page to learn about your kids in school. They want to know about what it is that you're selling. So talk about what it is you're selling. Tell stories about the things that you're selling. Post links to things you're selling or to other information about what it is that you're selling. Again, what you're doing when you create any sort of marketing is you're asking for time from someone else. So are you asking for fluff time from them, or are you willing to trade them their time for something valuable? Something that is interrupting their life with quality information. So yeah, you can definitely put your eBay business up on Facebook. And not only that, I highly recommend that you do that. Some great traffic can happen from that. So great marketing. Great question, Christine.
Okay, another question is, how do you find virtual assistants or VAs?
Truly, I would love to do a whole class on this, because this is a 2-hour class just to start. But my recommendation, what's the name of the person who asked that?
You want me to find the person now? I have to scroll back.
Sorry.
Janelle likes to talk to the people. Yeah.
Gary Ann.
Awesome.
I think
Gary
I said
Ann.
that name right.
Okay. I find my VAs a lot of different places. I've had one that's been with me forever and a day and then some. And I honestly don't remember where he's from. I know his first name and I know his email address, and he's worked for me for probably 10 years. And he's amazing. Do you know that last night as I went to bed, I thought, gosh, it would probably be really easy to get you guys this Excel spreadsheet on the website so that you guys aren't having to ask me for us. So I threw him an email, said, here's the spreadsheet, can you make it go up on the website? And literally 3 minutes later, he had that done. So I couldn't run my business without him, and I found him from a recommendation. I have quite a few VAs who work over at Daily Video Bible Project, the project I worked on last year. We found those people on Odesk, odesk.com. An amazing place. Do something for me if you've never been to Odesk. Go to odesk.com, sign in really quick, and then type in eBay listings, and you will soon find how many people could be doing your eBay listings for you instead of you having to do them. It's astounding. There's also other places, and there's a couple other groups. Kat, what's the name of the gentleman? I just lost the name.
Andy Do, that's talking about using VAs?
Yeah, but there's another one that came out with books last year you did a webinar with. I want to say Dan somebody.
Brad.
Thank you, Brad.
There you go.
Brad.
Yeah, so there are people out there, again, the education piece, there's people out there who have done nothing but learn how to hire VAs. Taking classes from them into that specific niche, holy cow, that will save you so much time and so much frustration. there is a process to working with VAs, and if you don't get that process right, it's going to be really frustrating for you. So I highly recommend that you go through one of those couple of guys. They're fabulous. Check out Odesk, and also if you belong to some of the e-commerce groups we're talking about on Facebook, you can ask there too. Again, that personal recommendation one is a good thing.
All right. Now, when you brought up taking time off and breathing, there were lots of questions about eBay and putting eBay stores on vacation and if there's financial disadvantages.
Nope. So, when I went to New York in the middle of Christmas season, I had Amazon who took care of my Amazon business. But I still had some merchant fulfilled for Amazon, and I completely left my eBay business up and running. I have 2 employees, both part-time, but 2 employees who come in and do various things in my eBay business. While I was in New York, they took care of any orders that came in, and there was a ton. It was Christmas time, right? Including one great big huge, very, very fragile punch bowl, American Brilliant Glass punch bowl. Sold that week, of course, the week I'm gone. And they took care of it. So again, planning for those times, I don't want you to put your business on hold, because what happens? Well, one, you kind of stress about business that whole week, of losing money for that whole week. Plus, my employees at the most are $10 an hour. At the very most are $10 an hour. I guarantee that the work that they did for me that week and leaving my business open actually allowed me to increase my business, because I've now had people repeat sales from what we sold to them at Christmas time. So please, please, please do not ever put your eBay business on hold. I would hope that you had planned ahead of time that whatever came up, even if it was a health crisis, that you would be able to put people in place to take care of those things. And now is the time to start putting those plans in place. Really quick, and Karen and Kat, you just tell me when I need to be done, but really quick, some of my best people who work for me come from the local high school. I get some of them through my church because I work with the kids at church from the local high school, and you can also set up programs where they get credit to come work for you, and they work for you for free. You just have to fill out some forms for the school. But if you go to the photography teacher at the high school or even the junior college and say, hey, who's some of your best students that might need pictures for their portfolio? Holy cow, they're building up their portfolio, and now you have a picture taker. Okay, so I want you to kind of think outside of the traditional box. We're not traditional sellers in the slightest, right? And think about where you can bring these people in, because at some point, and I want you guys to remember this, at some point you learned how to do these things, which means you can also teach somebody to do these things. The end.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. All right.
Excuse me, I had a cough. Okay. Daniel wants to know, is your eBay business in your home?
Oh, Daniel, you know that there's a very fine line between the hoarder shows and an eBay seller's home. There's the only difference. The only difference is the intent of the stuff in your house, right? So, yes, my eBay business is in my house at the moment because of the Daily Video Bible Project. Q4 is still all over my house. Q4 takes over my house. I'm used to that, but it's usually cleaned up by the first week of January. No, it's still all over my house. So yes, yes, I do have an entire basement that's devoted to my eBay business. My photo setup is down there. My inventory is down there. My processing, my shipping room is down there. And now I have a second room upstairs that has built into the closet. You guys know those little light cubes that you use for shooting smaller things? Literally, there's a TV tray in the closet. It's not a walk-in closet, it's just a normal closet. I took the doors off. There's a TV tray, one of the light cubes, 2 lights set up inside the closet. So don't tell me people don't have room, because you can always find room. So yeah.
Yeah, it's is it bad that I watched my very first episode of Hoarders and saw a couple things I would have liked to have sold for her?
Again, intent, right? Yes. She couldn't get rid of them, but yeah.
And someone in the chat room was saying that gorgeous picture of the women in the ride around, the fast ride around a merry-go-round thing. She said, is it bad that I looked at that picture and saw those vintage hats I could sell?
Nope, it's just how we are. That's awesome.
Okay, and talking about VAs, one of the questions Debbie's asking is, what site are you giving the VA to list? Are you letting them list directly on eBay, Activa?
Yeah, so again, one of the things we talked about was risk. You guys remember that success tip number 3 was about risk? Mm-hmm. I have very little worries about VAs. My VAs are in everything. They're in my PayPal account, they're in my Amazon account. They probably know my business better than I do at some points. But that's my comfort level. Not everybody's going to be comfortable doing that. So you really have to take a look at what you are comfortable with doing. I highly recommend, and one of the experts recommends you start with 5 VAs. I think that's crazy. I highly recommend that you start off with 1 and learn the process, and then you can go after 5. But learn the process first. Learn what your comfort levels are. Not everybody's comfortable with having somebody in their house. I understand that. That's just a personal preference. I'm very used to it now. So again, it goes back to your comfort level. My VAs have full access. They can list on eBay. They have full access to Amazon. They truly have access to my PayPal account for a variety of things. They have access to all my passwords, my hosting, my servers. But again, that I'm very comfortable with that because I've worked with them for such a long time. Good question.
Mm-hmm.
It is. There are also really quick, and Karen can probably talk about this more because this is her world, but there are certain sites where you can limit their visibility. You can actually say, I only want them to see this much of this particular site. And that's kind of nice too.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about Amazon. Amazon, you can set up users. Yes. eBay, not so much, but Amazon, you can set up users. I know I do listings for people, and it depends upon the person. There's one person I do it from their Ink.Krog. There's another person I do it in Activa. Some people I just go right into their eBay store. It depends upon the person I'm working with and their comfort level, and also, you know, access to the different sites. You know, Amazon, I'm always careful and I make sure I'm only an authorized user because I access a lot of different accounts. So I don't want Amazon thinking I'm the owner of all of those accounts.
Right.
So it all depends upon who you're working with. And some of them, like Amazon, it's simply a spreadsheet. Mm-hmm. A lot of their flat file uploads, so you don't even need access to the site. You can just create the spreadsheet and send it up.
And those comfort levels, and that evolves over time, because you first hire someone and you're testing each other. They're doing work for you, trusting that you're actually going to pay them. So they're trusting you, and you're trusting them. So, and then as that relationship develops, like Janelle said, she had the gentleman who's worked for her for 10 years. I'm pretty sure she'd actually give him her PayPal password if he needed it.
And he has it.
And he has it, see? So it develops. It develops.
And PayPal actually has, PayPal's something that you can limit access to. I have access to do refunds for one person, and that's all I have access to. I don't have access to the rest of it. So
I
you
love
can set
Amazon.
up different things at different places.
Right, I hope eBay do it. Honestly, we can stay here as long as you want to, Janelle. I know your time is valuable, but honestly, we've got questions going in 15 different directions. So we may...
the VA questions are what are coming.
We may have to put some of those off for later.
I think we need to do a VA class. Like, that's just got to happen.
Yes.
But one other thing with VAs, one of the reasons I use Odesk, and as some of you guys might remember Elance and Odesk just smushed recently. Thank goodness, because I don't like Elance at all. But Odesk is amazing because you can actually go in and look at the other work that they've done for people. So just because they say they've done eBay listings, make sure that their history shows that they've actually done that work, and you can see how well that they did that work for people. The information's right there on the site. Odesk also tests their people. So you can scroll down on their profile and you can see how well they did on English proficiency testing if you're having them write, say, emails for you. Kind of important. Other things, I don't care what language they speak because it doesn't matter with what it is that they're doing for me. So Odesk gives you a lot of transparent information to make a decision ahead of time. Plus that money is kind of held in escrow on Odesk. You get to review their work and you can actually put a stop on the payment if something isn't right or you have a question or whatever it is. So there's a lot of like comfort in using Odesk if that's your first time doing a VA.
And one of the main things I've seen with people just getting started on Odesk, Janelle, is they get overwhelmed because they post what they need and they get 500 people applying, or actually more like 100.
Yeah.
What you can do to avoid getting quite so many is you can put restrictions on who can apply. You can say only people with a certain score in English, or only people that have 1,000 hours already billed on Odesk, so they're experienced Odesk people. You can also put something in your product description that's a carrot, if you will, that says, when you reply, please use this word in the reply, or please answer this question. And that will help you weed out the people that aren't actually reading the full job description. So that's usually the first thing that people get a little overwhelmed with.
Right. The classes we've taught at Rockstars for VAs, that carrot that Kat's talking about is super important. I usually recommend asking a question. When you reply back, answer the following question. It's really easy to delete people, even if they sound great, because they can't follow instructions. So I usually say, if I'm working on a detailed project where they're having to fill in blanks, send me back an Excel spreadsheet that's filled in with the following words. I want to see that they can follow instructions. You truly, in one day, 24 hours, will probably get 100 applicants. So you have your choice of people. You might as well make it a little bit harder right off the bat. Yep.
Okay. Here's a question for you, Janelle, and it's from Shar. How do you handle liability or workers' comp insurance for people in your home?
I talked to Charlene's husband, Ron. So Charlene's going to have to answer that question.
Find Charlene Anderson on Facebook, guys, and she can help you with that. She's all over there. Insurance is a big deal.
Her husband has connections to some of this unique insurance that we have to get. So do be aware of that. Also, a lot of people aren't aware that the Amazon FBA has liability insurance at a certain price point, or a certain amount of income that you have. You need to be aware of that as well. And Charlene's husband, Ron, knows that world inside and out. So.
Okay. This is from Christine. She feels like it's been a plus for her to stick with one specific product type for selling. What do you think about stores with many different types of items?
How interesting you asked that, because I talked to somebody about that this weekend. It's not good and it's not bad, Christine. It's a great question, but it's not good or it's not bad. So are there Targets out there that do well? Are there Macy's? Are there Nordstroms? Yeah, so those are stores that have stuff, right? They still have something that they cater to if you stop and think about it. Nordstrom's definitely caters to a certain type of customer. Target definitely caters to a certain type of customer. If you guys have ever seen me on if you guys have ever, wasn't me. If you guys have ever seen me on tour, I always give the example of, you won't find Tiffany diamonds in Walmart. There's always, I have a story that goes along with that. There's always very specific niches, even if your product isn't the niche. I think running an eBay store of niches is great if that's what your product is geared towards. Like, we had a rock star that was selling everything under the sun. She was definitely a target, and she was all over the board. And I ran numbers for her during one class. I don't know if you guys remember this. And I ran numbers for her one time, and I said, you do realize all your money is coming out of ties. Like, all this other stuff, you're making, dollars here and there, but honestly, the chunk of your money's coming from ties. And she's like, really? And I'm like, yeah, look at your numbers. And so she ended up opening up a niche eBay store that was just selling ties, and she's doing phenomenal with it. So we have Cindy Hamilton, who has Twirl Planet, that is all twirling supplies, but then she also has Bombay Bongo, that is all gift type items. You can go to both on twirlplanet.com, bombaybongo.com, and you can see the two. But again, they both have different personalities. At Rockstars, we work really hard on your personalities for eBay, not Amazon. Buyers aren't loyal on Amazon. You don't have to sell just one type of thing on Amazon. But on eBay, your marketing efforts, there does have to be something unique about you. Now, whether that's how you do business or product, that's completely up to you. But niche stores tend to do really well. People are very aware of what they're getting when they come into your Barbie store. They know they won't be getting chainsaws. So, yeah.
I love it.
Next question for you. Misha, she loves the idea of a VA, but doesn't understand how someone in a different location can write a description when they don't have the item in front of them.
It depends. There's a couple different things that people do for that. And again, if you take one of the classes from these other people, they go in depth on this. I'm only going to have a few minutes. What my people do is I have my person here take pictures, and those pictures go into Dropbox, another great tool that saves, again, that cloning part, right? That goes into Dropbox. My VA in another country, not just another location, but another country, can actually see those images. A lot of times, they're able to write the descriptions from that. You would be surprised how good they are at actually writing descriptions. You are going to run into people or certain things that they don't know what it is. I work in Google Docs, another tool I use to clone myself. And if there's something on item number 1729 that I want to make sure that they definitely put in the listing, something I know about it that they may not see from just the item, then I simply put it in the Google Docs. Hey, don't forget that this item has 3 prongs on the bottom, or this item doesn't come with the candles, or I don't know, you can make up whatever. But again, it doesn't mean that you're completely not touching those listings. It just means you're touching them a lot less than you are right now.
And it works when you have, especially if you sell commodity items, because the items are there, so the information you need in the description is out. One of a kind, you definitely have to do more hands-on a little bit with the photographs and things like that.
But I have 2 items that are one-of-a-kind items, ties. I have a plethora of ties, and I bought probably 2,000-3,000 pieces of advertising. Those are actually getting shipped out to my VA. They'll physically have them in their location. I don't have a problem with that. Here, have the item. Take the photo. See that it has this on the back. See that it has this. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
There you go. Okay. How do you properly manage risk without losing potential inventory? I've given up on great deals because I did not feel comfortable tying up certain amounts of money for a product that may move slowly.
Cabbage. No. Pitching the sponsors, but it completely depends. Whoever asked that question, your risk may be higher than mine and may be lower than mine. It may be the same as mine. I am much more adventurous in my sourcing because I have done it for so freaking long. For so long. I am much more adventurous in tying up money if it's going to pay. So if I'm going to, we'll go back to that glass bowl I just bought. Danny Ackerman was just up here for the weekend working with her appsters, and I got a tag along. And this glass bowl was $135. That $135 is going to be tied up for a while, but when I sell it, I'm not going to make $10, $20, $30, or even $100. So you've got to think about, if your money's tied up in the bank, how much money would you be making, right? Well, if I can make even $1,000 on my $135 investment in 6 months, is that your risk level? I swear if people would go sourcing with me, they would have more items than they could ever want because I leave so much stuff behind because it's not a big enough profit margin for me to even deal with. If I'm going to only make $20, $30 on something, it's not worth my time. And you'll hear a lot more people, if you guys listen to the Ask Janelle radio show, you'll hear Tim say that all the time. Tim, Mr. Customer Service Chapman. You know, he tries to look for things that will make him at least $50, at least $75. You're valuable as an entrepreneur. You've got to make sure that you're looking at those items. So think about that with your risk next time. How much money would you truly be making if this had to sit for 6 months before it's sold?
Okay. We have about 2 or 3 more questions, and then I have one last one for the final question. Do you recommend adding drop shipping to your eBay business? Seems like you would save a lot of time and money, but losing control scares me. This is from Kelly.
Hi, Kelly. Is it one of our Kellys?
Nope, not that I recognize.
Oh, we have so many Kellys at Rockstar Digest. Hi, Kelly. Great question, and the answer is it depends. And I know Kat teases about this all the time.
Ding, ding.
Yeah, where's your bell, Kat?
Do I win a prize?
Yes.
It depends. So drop shipping's hard. I am from the old school of eBay when Platinum Power Sellers used to recommend that you do drop shipping. I still remember that speech at eBay Live. I personally don't accept. So for the most part, you're going to get in trouble with drop shipping. you're going to mess up your top rated seller status potentially. There's all these things that can go wrong. You have to pay so much more money. There's less inventory. What if they run out? You know, if you're going to do drop shipping, I always recommend that you keep the inventory at your home. Also, keep enough so to cover them in case they run out. There's just all these things that go wrong with drop shipping. With that being said, we do have rock stars who have drop shipping pieces to their business. I try and have you guys go and do drop shipping with somebody you can personally connect with, not with companies, not with these lists that other people sell. I won't name names, but other people sell. Have a personal relationship with them. I find great drop shippers at smaller trade shows. It's somebody that is willing to work with me. I can pick up the phone and I can actually get the head of the company. I'm not having to go through a salesperson and a middleman type of thing. There are people who have successful drop shipping businesses, but you're really going to struggle with it. Plus, you can't do FBA with drop shipping, so that's kind of out of the ball game. Merchant fulfilled with drop shipping is a whole other problem. You can actually lose your Amazon account if your drop shipper isn't fast enough. And Amazon isn't like eBay. Amazon doesn't give accounts back very easily. Once you lose it, you're kind of sunk. So that is a high risk one as far as I'm concerned, in the sense that you've just got to really be careful. And the one or two drop shippers you ever work with, boy, you really need to make sure that relationship works completely for you. So I'm right there with you. I'm not a big fan of drop shipping. I think it has its place, but it's a very small place in online selling world.
Okay. Any advice for liquidating a household of an elderly family member who has lots of good stuff? And that's from David.
Well, I'm sure Danny's jumping in right about now. So.
Hire Danny.
That's something where if that came into my world, and it has before, I first and foremost go and look at it. If it truly is good stuff, meaning there's stuff in there that's going to make me money, I'm probably in there with my Terapeak app, going through and figuring things out. Then I will bring in my $10 an hour guys that I have, and we will go through the house. And I will probably take everything. And as they're going through the house, I'm going to send certain things to the left and certain things to the right. Certain things to the right go to my church's garage sale. Certain things to the left are going to get listed. So I'm definitely going to cherry pick out of that situation as well. Understand that's nothing I would tackle on my own. I would get listers coming in for something like that, for that kind of volume. Onesie twosies are hard. I love onesie twosies because it's where your big home runs happen. But we also encourage our rock stars to get into wholesale as well, because you're listing once and then you have just depth of inventory. You're sending in 20 things that are exactly the same to FBA rather than into one warehouse, might I add, instead of 20 different things all with different stickers on them into 5 different warehouses. So that one's definitely that tip about not doing it yourself. Tip number 4, cloning yourself. Get in there, figure out if there is money in there, and then get some help and move through it. I had an opportunity to buy a gigantic storage unit. It wasn't a storage auction. It was just me, so I got it. And but it was huge, and it was filled to the brim, and that's all I did. I just rounded up my people, rounded up the resources I need. It would have taken me such a long time to do it, and we were in and out of there in about 3-4 hours. And same thing, sorted. One went to the garage sale, the other was going to be listing stuff. Yep, that's all it was.
Sort it once and done.
Yeah, try and touch your items as few times as possible, ideally just one time. We talk about that a lot with FBA. eBay's no different. Try and touch it as few times as possible. Yep.
And speaking of home runs, since you mentioned that word again, somebody was asking what the home run guide was.
Oh my goodness. So the home run guide is this crazy project. So I was out garage sailing one day, which is something I do when I have absolutely nothing else to do on Saturdays. And I like garage sailing. It's kind of fun. But I happened upon a set of dishes. I'm like, oh, I wish I had Lynn here, Lynn Drawley. She would know whether to buy these dishes or not. And then I found some knives. I'm like, oh, my friend Tim, Mr. Customer Service. He would know whether to buy these knives. And I'm driving down the street, and I'm like, why can't I just have my friends in my back pocket when I go shopping? And literally, I turned into a parking lot and shouted in my car, why can't I have my friends in my back pocket when I go sourcing? And so thus came the first home run guide. And it's truly just this really fun book of, gosh, I think the first home run guide has almost 50 different things in it that are home runs that you can find at garage sales, estate sales, secondhand stores. And holy cow, people wrote this. I didn't write this, but I have made so much money learning from these experts who write these books. And we're doing Home Run Guide 3 this year. I wasn't going to do 3 until my inbox got flooded last year. Why isn't 3 coming out? Oh, shoot. I guess I have to do a 3. So, yeah, people have written about all sorts of just really fun things, anywhere from glass collectibles to cowboy boots to Tupperware to old Mac parts to, gosh, I'm trying to remember everything that's in there. It's crazy. Yeah, it's just really fun. And if you go to homerunguide.com, you'll see the first 2 guides and everything that's in it. And we're taking submissions right now for Home Run Guide number 3. Should be fun.
Cool. Let's see. There's 2 more questions. What recommendation do you or Kat have for eBay fulfillment services like Shipwire? Or do you have any?
I don't use Shipwire. My fulfillment, and it's not that I've heard anything bad about Shipwire. I've only heard good things, so don't think I'm saying that. My fulfillment, I like to have people I've trained. Again, it's not bad if you find a company that does it. There's some really great companies out there that do that, but I would rather train my own people to do fulfillment. I'm very specific about processes. Yeah, the only people I allow to do fulfillment on a big scale is Amazon.
I have the same experience. I've only heard good things from Shipwire, but it's not something that I'm ready to outsource yet. The reason I do FBA is because of the benefits that come along with it. I just don't think I'm interested in growing to the size that I actually need my own personal fulfillment center yet.
Yeah.
And the whoops, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, just really quick. And if any of you guys are thinking your own personal fulfillment center, part of the reason we use companies like Shipwire and other things like that is there's so much that goes into it that we don't think. First and foremost, the insurance piece that Charlene brought up, right? We've got to deal with that. We've got to deal with the actual space itself. We've got to deal with an inventory system that's probably including expensive software that we're going to have to install. Possibly heavy equipment, depending on how big our warehouse is. Like, there's a lot of pieces that people don't think about with a pick and pack station like FBA. That's why we love FBA so much, is Amazon's taking care of all the hard stuff, and we just pay a little bit more for the use of that.
Exactly.
And the final question for you, Janelle, and I save it till last because I know you can say a lot about this, is Annie wants to know, what does OSI Rockstar membership do for you?
Annie, what a great question. So OSI Rockstars has over 1,000 hours of on-demand training, meaning if you want to learn about taxes at 3 o'clock in the morning because you can't sleep, you can watch about taxes. We have classes every single week. On once a month on Tuesday, we have the Ask Janelle coaching class, which is live coaching, meaning you can send in questions about anything, literally anything, and we answer them live during the show. So if you want me to run your profit loss statements and figure out what your numbers look like, we can do that. If you want me to go over your custom pages for your eBay store and give you recommendations for search engine optimization, we can do that. If you want me to take a look at a source you found, we can do that. We do all sorts of interesting things during the Ask Janelle show. And that's once a month. Sometimes we do it twice a month, just depending upon the demand. On Thursdays is our series, and we run success series. Right now we're in the Roadmap to Success, which is our goal planning for 2014. Once that finishes, we're actually going back to a series that we worked on last year. What is the series called? Like, it's been a month and now I've forgotten. Profitable Communications. I knew it wasn't numbers. We finished that up. Profitable Communications. And it's all about creating profitable keywords, which if you go to a company will charge you thousands and thousands of dollars to create for you. But creating the language that your buyers speak and then using that language at all the places that Google pays attention. How to use it in your eBay business, Amazon, Etsy, your own website, and all your social media. You're going to put words there anyways. They might as well be the right words that get you traffic. And so we've been working really hard on the profitable communications. We are going to be doing a profitable website series. A lot of people are ready to add their own version of a website, whether it's a couple products, services, or whether it's, you know, thousands and thousands of products. We're going to be talking about a couple of the different platforms and how do you use them. So how do you sell outside of eBay and Amazon on your own? Our past series have included one of my favorite series, which is on eBay stores. I don't even know how long that series was, like 10 weeks, 11 weeks of hardcore, deep training of how to set your eBay store up, not for eBay. eBay changes their mind every 3 seconds. You don't want to set it up for eBay. You want to set it up for Google, because Google will send you traffic. How do you set up your eBay store correctly for Google? During that series, I even teach you some interesting coding. I don't know how I say this without getting myself in trouble. I teach you some interesting coding that allow legal workarounds. Yeah. eBay gives us the ability. I just don't think that they understand they gave us the ability. Legal workarounds to push certain information out to Google for your eBay business. I absolutely am fascinated by search engine optimization. It's honestly what I study in my free time, and so we talk about that a lot. How do you get ranked on Google? What the heck Cassini's doing, and why are people leaving that ship, and what do you do about it? We have also had previous classes on motivation. So some of my mentors, so I constantly am learning as well. I take number 6 very seriously. Some of my mentors have come on the show as well. So you can hear classes from Seth Godin and John Jantz and Jay Berkowitz. A bunch of those guys who were my mentors are on there. Gosh, there's just so much stuff. But probably my favorite part about OSI Rockstars, besides holy cow, if you want to learn about anything, it's on there, is the fact that we just have this amazing group of people that truly is more like a family, that are geniuses into their own right. We have Charlene, who knows more about trade shows than I think anybody I know. We have Kathy, who is an accountant for online sellers, who's one of our rock stars. Kat and Karen are rock stars. We have so many people that are so smart in so many things. We have people who do importing. We have people who are running and coding their own websites. We have people who do have their own fulfillment houses. Boy, just the wealth of information amongst the members alone. Forget about the 1,000 hours training, but the members alone is just stunning. Plus, they're just an amazing group of people. These are the people that are success-minded. You're not going to hear grumbling at Rockstars ever. They know that some days are hard, and they encourage each other, which is just incredible to see. I have seen rock stars go over to other people's houses to help them get stuff done when they were sick, go hang out with them at the hospital when things happen in their family. Like it's truly more like a family than just a membership site. So yeah, I'd have to say one of the biggest parts is the rock stars themselves. They're just a truly amazing group of people, very generous with their time and information, and I'm very blessed and honored to be part of that.
Well, Janelle, I know that you love to hear when you've made a difference for somebody, so I think we should end on Gary Ann's comment. She said, I wrote my goals during this webinar since they were right in front of my mind, and now hiring a VA this year is one of them.
Oh my goodness, that is awesome. Yeah. Yay! I love that.
All right, great. Okay, well, Janelle, thank you so much for staying and answering all of our questions. I know, we always say it's going to be a 1-hour webinar, and we always need a little bit more time. So thank you for being generous with your time. Folks, be sure to join the Top Rated Seller Webinar Facebook group. If you have any other questions, that's where to go and ask. And that's also where we'll announce when we have the recording put up on our YouTube channel and the PDF of the slides. Thanks again, everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and we will see you again next month.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.